Yo, what is up, guys? It is your boy Sage Samurai here, and this is What If Naofumi Had Whitebeards Powers, Part 5. So this is Part 5 to the series. So guys, I want to make something clear. I plan to actually make a What If movie, my actual first ever What If movie. Never actually done it before. Yeah, so pretty much I plan to make a What If movie. I'm posting it on this channel, and I don't really have any idea how I'm gonna do it. Because you know how long I'll be making these series and, you know, putting one into a movie and everything. So I don't know how I'm going to really do it. But I know I'm going to make it pretty long. Not like 4 hours or 5 hours. Not that long. But I am going to make a what if movie. Plus, I'm also trying hard, you know, learning some new thumbnail styles and everything. Plus, I finally got, you know, I finally ordered my new mic and, you know, something else. So yeah, I ordered my new mic and everything, so it should be arriving one of these days, so that way I can make my videos much more better. But besides all that, I would like to thank y'all and pretty much all of y'all for everything y'all been doing for my channel and everything, so I thank you. But besides all that, why don't we go ahead and get started? So, why don't we?
You're never gonna make it, you're not good enough. There's a million other people with the same stuff. You really think you're different? Man, you must be kidding. Think you're gonna hit it, but you just don't get it. It's impossible, it's not probable, you're irresponsible. Too many obstacles, you gotta stop it, yo. You gotta take it slow, you can't be a pro. Don't waste your time no more. Who the fuck are you to tell me what to do?
Alright guys, so let's go ahead and get started with this what if. So we now cut to Naofumi and Raphtalia and pretty much the whole gang, as they now went ahead and actually were going to explore this infestation of this new disease, which was a dragon corpse. Now apparently this dragon corpse has spread this disease throughout this entire village, which causes multiple people to actually go sick and die eventually. Now at this, Naofumi, knowing that he has to take care of all of this, automatically knows that, you know, they had to take care of this, as well as he was actually getting really upset with the other heroes. Now the other heroes are pretty much are the root of the problem to him, considering the fact that the other heroes went ahead and were the one to, first of all, the sword hero was the one to cause the infestation or the disease, thanks to him leaving the dragon corpse. The spear hero went ahead and pretty much was the one that turned that whole entire village into a freaking whole salad all-you-can-eat buffet, because he was the one who planted the cursed seed in there. As for the bow hero, he had heard about him overruling a king's village. However, it had some dire effects, which is something he's gonna actually check out after this was done. As both Raphtalia and Jane, all of them will go ahead and walk up to the dragon corpse. As soon as they do so, you know, this will cause Naofumi to actually tell them to stay back as he goes ahead and explores it. So at this, just as Naofumi was actually rushing over there to explore this, he will then, as soon as he gets close to it, it will then appear a sort of a, you know, indicator of life. And he's like, wait, what? At this, we have to jump back from a dragon slashing a little bit of Naofumi's chest, causing the kid to actually, you know, get upset. Dang it! As he goes ahead and falls down to one knee. Crap, I let my guard down. At this is when suddenly the dragon will go ahead and take form, as this was an undead dragon, as it was now looking down at Naofumi. At this, Naofumi really can't believe that this thing is actually able to move even when it's dead, but right now that's not the main situation here, as this thing will then shoot out a toxic breath. At this, Naofumi, seeing the toxic breath, will of course activate his shield, allowing him to protect him from the attack while also gritting his teeth. Dang it! At this, after blocking the attack, he'll go ahead and surround his fist in a whitish glow, of course activating the Quake ability, as he will then dash off at top speed. Take this! At this, he'll go ahead and slam the attack into the beast, causing it to actually be taking a lot of damage actually, as, you know, this will cause Naofumi to think that he actually defeated it in one shot. However, that was not the case, as soon as Naofumi landed the hit, it would instantly go ahead and turn to Naofumi, acting unfazed, causing Naofumi to realize this is actually an undead monster. So that means that really physical attacks don't really do crap to it. At this, Naofumi would then be sent flying as it goes ahead and slams its head into Naofumi's gut, pretty much headbutting him, sending him flying across the whole area and back to his party. Now back with his party. So Raphtalia and Jane were just there chatting it up until they see Naofumi pretty much, sending him flying towards him, causing Raphtalia and Jane to actually go ahead and try to catch him. At this, they would actually go ahead and catch him right before he hit the ground, as they were asking him if he was alright. Yeah, guys, I'm okay, but run! At this is when suddenly the ginormous dragon will go ahead and come crashing down on them, causing their car to actually nearly be destroyed in the process. Crap. Guys, don't worry, I'll go ahead and lead it away. You guys try to do some damage to it. At this, Raphtalia would nod. However, Jane was a different story. At this, Jane was just looking at this thing until she was then suddenly felt unbridled rage that she ever felt before. At this, she'll go ahead and go into some sort of rage frenzy as her eyes glow red and dangerously as she dashes off, ready to face the thing. Jane? Naofumi would say, as too late, she was already attacking the dragon with everything she had. At this, Raphtalia was just looking at Naofumi like, what do we do? While Naofumi was trying to contemplate, like, what's up with Jane right now? As she was attacking the thing as if she were, well, even more of a beast, even though she is one. At this, she was just attacking it over and over again, until the said beast actually goes ahead and actually opens his mouth, as Naofumi would then shout, Jane, run! But it was too late, as Jane goes ahead and enters into the mouth of the beast, getting swallowed. At this, to Naofumi, it seemed like time just froze. Jane got eaten right before me? He thought, as he couldn't believe it. On one moment, Jane was over there actually boxing with the thing, and the next moment, she swallowed. Naofumi saw it. In a split second, if he was fast enough, he could have reached her. He could have stopped the whole thing. But even he couldn't. No, it can't be. At this is when at the point Naofumi begins to hyperventilate, as is indicating that he is now beginning to understand the circumstances. No, this can't be. At this, Naofumi never really truly experienced the feeling of someone dying right in front of his eyes, and someone that he couldn't even protect. As this is when suddenly a dark voice would then shout, Do you want power? He would say. At this, Naofumi goes ahead and shakes his head. Yeah, I needed to protect them. At this, he goes ahead and looks at him. Are you upset for the fact that you're so pathetic that you couldn't even save one of them? At this, Naofumi at first began to hyperventilate. However, he begins to go even further as he begins to feel unbridled rage. Yeah, damn it. If I was only strong enough, I could have. At this is when once again the dark voice would then speak. Why didn't you try to go ahead and take control of it? Take control of everything and gain unimaginable power. At this is when Naofumi begins to realize all the memories and everything. All of them. At first, he thought he was stronger than when pretty much everything, considering the fact that his power, the ability of Quake, pretty much allowed him to, destroy nearly anything. He felt unstoppable, which, not gonna lie, okay, if you guys had the ability to go ahead and do something like that, you could not lie and say, oh, I wouldn't feel like that, because, bro, that is OP. As he begins to feel unbridled rage, I let my arrogance get the best of me. And that cost me the death of Jane. At this, he'll feel it, unbridled rage. He goes ahead and gets angry. Back with Raphtalia, to her, she just saw, Jane get eaten right before her. She was now falling down to her knees. Jane is dead. And she couldn't really believe her eyes. At this is when suddenly she would then feel unimaginable power going ahead and shooting out of Naofumi, as this was bloodlust. As Naofumi would go ahead and shout a mighty war cry as his shield goes ahead and morphs into the rage shield. Damn it, he would say. At this, he goes ahead and looks at the dragon that was now looking at Naofumi, who was now just glaring at it. Oh, I'll destroy you. At this, right before Raphtalia even got the chance, Naofumi would jump at a very high, he would go ahead and jump up into the air, causing her to actually be pushed back. As she was now looking at Naofumi. Naofumi, she would say, but it was too late. As Naofumi goes ahead and brings down his fist. As he goes ahead and punches the thing with armament hockey, as well as, Quake. As this causes the beast to get slammed into the ground. As Naofumi was not done. Rage shield, he would say, as he goes ahead and shoots a fire blast from the shield, burning the thing, as he was really keeping up the damage. At this, he begins to attack it. It was almost similar to how Jane did, considering the fact that she actually went ahead and attacked it pretty animalistically, as right now Naofumi was doing the same thing, as he was punching it over and over with Quake Fist. Of course, he was only hitting the face, but still, it was doing lasting damage. How dare you do it? How dare you? I'll never forgive you. At this, he continues punching and punching, as Raphtalia, seeing her friend, the person that saved her, doing all of this, she can't help but cry out his name as she goes ahead and rushes over to him. At this, she'll go ahead and hug Naofumi, trying to make him stop. As Naofumi, seeing Raphtalia trying to stop him, he'll try to actually hurt her. However, this is when suddenly he'll then stop. "What am I doing?" he would say. At this, he goes ahead and stops before he actually hits her with a hockey-infused fist to the face, as she didn't realize what he was actually planning to do. I was about to hurt my friend. I was about to let these actions... what's wrong with me? He would think. At this, Naofumi goes ahead and actually begins to look down, as he couldn't believe he was actually planning to injure his friend, his companion that's been with him throughout most of his journey. As right now, Naofumi can't help but feel sick about himself. Ugh, what's wrong with me? But just when suddenly, he would then see or feel something as he goes ahead and grabs Raphtalia, jumping away from the corpse of the dragon, as it was now being unresponded. What's going on? At this is when suddenly, coming from the beast back, when none other than Jane? Said Naofumi as he goes ahead and tilts his head. At this, suddenly stepping out of the dragon's, out of the very dragon will be Jane, who looked like she ate her way out of it. Oh, that's sick, thought Naofumi. At this, Jane begins to explain that she actually found this weird crystal thing, so she did the one thing that was logical and devoured it. At this, both Raphtalia and Naofumi sweat drop at this, as they couldn't believe that, she would actually do such a reckless thing. As Naofumi goes ahead and sighs, he would then turn back to Raphtalia. However, this is when he then realizes it. "Raphtalia, you're..." At this, Raphtalia then looks down at her hands, as some of the dragon's poison, or, whatever it was, had went ahead and struck her arms, causing her arms to actually be quite burnt and actually riddled in pain. Yeah, it stings a lot, but I'll be alright. At this, Naofumi doesn't even listen to her, as he instantly begins to operate in healing, as he then just speaks, "I'm sorry." So at this, Raphtalia goes ahead and looks at Naofumi, but then smiles, bringing him to a hug, telling him that it was not his fault, and it was understandable. I mean, she just saw her best friend die, and she was also enraged. So at this, this would cause, Jane to actually look at both of them in, confusion. She didn't ask, "What's up?" So with that, Naofumi would go ahead and take Raphtalia and Jane back to the village to go ahead and recover their wounds. As Naofumi right now feels so guilty of the fact that he went ahead and actually put both of his friends in danger, nearly got one of them killed, and injured another. As he felt so ashamed of himself. "Ugh, I'm supposed to be stronger than this," he thought. As soon as he arrives back at the village, he goes ahead and says that him and his group had taken care of the problem, as well as that him and his group actually need to go ahead and heal. Now, I just want to let you guys know, before Naofumi had left, he actually went ahead and absorbed the dragon corpse into his shield, which he was able to unlock the dragon shield, causing Naofumi to actually be, glad about it. But at the same time, he was angry at the beast. So as soon as both of them actually arrive at the, village and everything, Naofumi treats Raphtalia's injuries while also putting Jane to rest, as she really needs to go get some sleep. As right now, he was just contemplating of the fact, what was wrong with him, really? At that time, he didn't understand what caused his actions or what was influencing it, as it seemed like this dark voice or whatever it was influencing him and causing him to act up the way he was. If only I didn't go ahead and lose control there. Naofumi couldn't just help but deal with the pain and sadness that he was the one that caused these injuries. He had no one to blame but himself. As feeling unbridled guilt, this is when suddenly Naofumi will go ahead and actually, feel and actually go ahead and sense something. As suddenly coming from behind the door will be Raphtalia, who was still covered in injuries, as well as Jane, who had just woken up from her nap. "You're still blaming yourself, aren't you?" asked Raphtalia with a small smile. At this, looking at them all injured and everything, Naofumi would turn away with a sad expression. "I can't help it, alright? I'm supposed to have a calm-headed mind. I'm supposed to be the one who's in charge, but instead I let my actions and my emotions gain control of me, and I don't know what happened. I flew off the hinges, I guess. Please forgive me, he would say. At this, Raphtalia goes ahead and shakes her head and says, there you go again, blaming yourself for everything. Look, what happened there was not your fault. Yes, you let your emotions control you, but then again, you are only human, Naofumi. It doesn't matter how powerful you get, you will always remain one. And remember that. And those feelings of yours, well, of course you're going to get upset that your friend died in front of you, even though she's not really. She will go ahead and say, sweating, dropping at, Jane, who's right now looking at them in confusion. Yeah, sorry, I also let myself get controlled, I guess, she would say. At this, Raphtalia will go ahead and look at her and just say, you think? Causing her to actually go ahead and yelp and also look down. I said I'm sorry. So at this, Raphtalia will go ahead and just shake her head as she then turns to Naofumi. Look, I need you to stop blaming yourself, alright? After all, you are the savior of the Heavenly Fowl, right? At this, Naofumi goes ahead and sweat drops. Yeah, call me the Wandering Merchant again. I do not want that name. At this, she goes ahead and just chuckles at him. Okay. But still though, you need to go ahead and just get over it. If you don't want something like that to happen, then continue getting stronger. Be there when we need it. We need to be there when we need each other. There's no way that someone or one of us is responsible for the other. We're all responsible for ourselves and each other, okay? So don't go ahead and start relying on yourself or at least push yourself to utmost limits just trying to save us, okay? At this, Naofumi goes ahead and looks at her, but then slowly but surely nods his head, causing Raphtalia and Jane to smile at him. Alright, now come on guys, let's go ahead and get some sleep. After all, tomorrow is going to be quite an early day, right? At this, Naofumi would nod. However, deep down, he was just having a hint of sadness at the fact that, what she said was right. To think that he was going to go into self-depression, all because his friends nearly died and one girl got injured. But still, he vowed to get stronger. So, with that, Naofumi and the rest of his party would go ahead and actually, go to sleep for the night, causing a time skip. As when we go ahead and cut to the next day, Naofumi and his group have already gotten up as they are now making their way to leave. As they'll say goodbye to, the merchant, causing the guy to go ahead and say goodbye as well, as they'll go ahead and continue on their journey. Now at this, Naofumi realized that he's going to need to get back to the capital. Now, the reason why he needs to get back there is for some holy water, considering the fact that, Raphtalia's injuries, they cannot be they cannot be healed by him currently. So he's going to need some holy water to get rid of it. So with that, Naofumi and his group will actually go and continue on their journeys. As actually, while they're actually on their journeys, of course, they'll actually have to stop by at a nearby, tavern. So at this, they'll go ahead and stop by to get some food and everything. But Naofumi and his group will instantly notice the two individuals that were sticking out. And sitting all the way across from them will be none other than the bow hero and the sword hero, Rin and Itsuki. At this, both of them were just talking about their achievements and everything, as Naofumi and his group would just pretty much ignore them, ordering their food, causing both of them to actually stop listening, stop talking to each other and actually look at them. So at this, they go ahead and stop whatever they're doing until they continue on talking, talking about their achievements and everything. And pretty much hearing how Itsuki pretty much saved the whole entire village causes Naofumi to actually let out a chuckle. At this, hearing the chuckle, Itsuki then turns to him a bit annoyed. At this, he goes ahead and walks over to him. Oh yeah? And what do you think is so funny? He would say. At this, Naofumi noticing Itsuki's presence right in front of him will just look at him and just say, oh, me, nothing. Just doing what I do. At this, Itsuki will go ahead and look at him narrowed-eyed as he then says, okay, yeah? Then how come you were just laughing as soon as I said something? He would say. At this, Naofumi goes ahead and just, looks away. But this is when Rin steps up. He's like, there's been something that's been going on lately. We've been getting quests a lot. However, each time that we do get a quest, it'll be canceled for some unknown reason. Have you been the one that's been taking away our quest? Asked Rin. As Itsuki goes ahead and, becomes his hype man saying, yeah. As, Naofumi goes ahead and shakes his head. I have no idea what you're talking about. At this is when the man will go ahead and bring over, the group's food, causing Jane to actually smile and just say, yay, as she goes ahead and devours her food, causing both, Raphtalia and Naofumi to have a small smile on their face. At this, Itsuki with the angry and says, "Oh yeah? Well, at this is when Naofumi then speaks up. Look, I do not care, and the reason why I was laughing is because you actually thought that whatever you were doing were actual achievements. Don't make me laugh. Have you guys seen the conditions that you put your people in?" At this, Itsuki actually goes ahead and steps back until he goes ahead and screams, "This isn't about us, this is about you," he would say. But this is when Rin actually speaks up. "Really? What did we do?" he would say. At this, of course Naofumi looks at him until he sighs. "Okay, let's go ahead and get started with you, Rin. You over there went into the mountains to actually slay a dragon, right? And you went ahead and pretty much just slayed the dragon, leaving his corpse there. Am I right?" So at this, Rin goes ahead and nods and says, "Yes. So I guess you are taking our quest, aren't you?" But this is when, Naofumi would just tell him to, like, be quiet as he continues on. "Okay, let me go ahead and tell you this, smart guy. We aren't in no RPG, alright? When you destroy a monster, all the remains are left there. It's not automatically poofed away like it's in a game, alright? Here, due to you leaving that corpse there, you spread an entire disease, a disease that could be nearly uncurable, causing multiple people's lives to die. You know how much that village suffered because of you?" At this, Rin will actually be stepped back at this. He's like, "People suffer because of me?" At this, Itsuki goes ahead and steps up. "This is not about us. This is about you taking our quest." But this is when Naofumi will level him with the glare, as well as some conqueror's spirit, causing Itsuki to lose any confidence or anything to talk back at Naofumi. "You need to shut up and listen, alright? You know that village that you went ahead and so-called overthrow their leader?" he would say. At this, Itsuki goes ahead and nonchalantly nods, saying, "Yeah, of course, that leader was a tyrant." At this, Naofumi go ahead and look at him. "Really? Well, let me tell you now, smart guy. Did you know that by taking away that tyrant, you just made it even worse for them?" At this, Itsuki goes ahead and actually be shocked, as this is when Naofumi begins to explain that the condition of the village literally went extinct. The whole population went extinct pretty much. There was barely a few alive, less food, the land was scavenged, and pretty much the land didn't even prosper. In fact, it could be gone if not for like in a few days or something, if not for Naofumi who went ahead and appeared. As, Itsuki actually gets embarrassed. He's like, "But this is not about us." But this is when Rin steps up. Look, Itsuki, look, this is no longer about the quest, alright? But this is when he turns to Naofumi. "I still don't believe you." At this, Naofumi goes ahead and hides him with the glare and says, "Why don't you go ahead and look at my teammate?" he would say. At this, Rin actually does what he says, turning to Raphtalia. As at first, he doesn't see anything off with her, but this is when he actually looks to her arms and sees that there seems to be like this, poison that's on it. As this causes him to actually step back in shock. "What was that caused by?" At this, Naofumi cuts him off. "Yes, by the so-called dragon that you so-called defeated. However, you shouldn't blame yourself for it, though." At this is when Naofumi actually goes ahead and puts on a very shallow and depressing look, as he goes ahead and says very quietly, "Besides, those two are my fault." At this, Rin actually hears it as he goes ahead and looks at Naofumi, as he could already tell that Naofumi, due to him, well, first he could already tell that Naofumi somehow may have battled the dragon, as he sort of connected the dots and realized that due to him, Naofumi had to actually go through something that actually hurt him a lot more. As already, Rin doesn't suspect, Naofumi to actually go ahead and be the so-called, I'm not even going to say the R word because, he's not going to be the so-called violator that he really is, considering that the king went ahead and, told him. So at this, Itsuki, Rin actually feels bad as he then says, "I'm sorry." At this, Itsuki was about to say, like, "You actually believe this guy?" But this is when Rin goes ahead and looks at him. "There's no point in me not believing." At this, Naofumi goes ahead and looks at him. He then says, "Well, I thank you both gentlemen for your time, but I think it's about time me and my party go." At this, he goes ahead and turns to them, which they will both nod as they had finished their food during the whole conversation, as Naofumi would take his to go, leaving both heroes there at the bar, feeling a bit ashamed of themselves. So we now go ahead and cut to Naofumi and his group as they went ahead and continue on their journeys, of course, now feeling much more better than they did before. However, this is when, while they were going, they will go ahead and see this girl who was actually just there, who was like laying on the ground. At this, Jane would go ahead and tell him to stop, which he would do so, as both Naofumi and this party would go ahead and get out. As soon as they do, they will go ahead and see this young girl there on the ground, unconscious. At this, Naofumi goes ahead and thinks, poor thing. Well, I guess I have no choice but to put out his misery. At this, Raphtalia and, Jane look at him like, are you serious? But Naofumi goes ahead and sighs. He's like, well, I don't want this thing to go ahead and be left here dead, and not even having a proper burial. At this, Raphtalia nods. She feels bad for the girl, while Jane looks like she was about to cry. As Naofumi rushes over there, ready to give this thing a proper burial, but this is when suddenly said girl will go ahead and wake up. You know what? I'm not dead, right? At this, Naofumi goes ahead and actually stops and turns to her. Oh, sorry about that, he would say. At this, said girl gives Naofumi a playful glare, until she then turns to, Jane. She then realizes that Jane is a Filolio, causing her to actually jump up in happiness. It's a Filolio, she would say as she dashes off towards, Jane, causing her to actually begin to pet her, causing Jane to actually be delighted. Great, even more hard work now, thought, Naofumi, as he goes ahead and actually begins to speak to Melty. So at this, we do a time skip to when Melty describes or explains the whole thing. Apparently, she was with a group, but she got separated due to the fact of her so-called clumsiness, or just the ability to not focus for very often. At this, Naofumi goes ahead and sweat drops at this, but this is when Jane actually gives them the bright idea that Melty should travel with them, causing Melty and Jane to both have a small little dance, a small little dance party between the two, considering the fact that this is really good news for them. At this, Raphtalia goes ahead and actually persists now to Naofumi, telling him, like, yeah, we should allow her, which Naofumi begrudgingly allows. So with this, Naofumi and his group would then go ahead and take Melty, as they will go ahead and head to the kingdom. So we now do a time skip to when Naofumi and his group arrive. So Naofumi and his group will arrive at the kingdom, as soon as they step in, of course, most of the townspeople actually just look at Naofumi. They don't really say anything, considering the fact that Naofumi's reputation here has more or less sort of improved. One is the fact that Naofumi had, first of all, most people are beginning to doubt the story about his, him being a violator of, mine, considering the fact that one was the incident that had occurred between the, the king and mine, that when they went ahead and tried to make Naofumi lose a battle by going ahead and actually betting against him and everything. Another thing was the time when they went ahead and heard things, because they began to hear things about Naofumi and his exploits. So pretty much Naofumi has a better reputation than he had in canon. At this, while they're walking around, this is when Melty has to tell them that she has certain business to take care of, so she will see them around, causing Jane to actually nod, while also giving her friend a tearful goodbye. At this, after that, they will both go their separate ways, as Naofumi and the group actually had to go get some new equipment, as Jane was now in her human form, of course walking along with them. At this is when suddenly all their senses go ahead and act up, as Naofumi just thinks, fuck. As this is when he dodges a spear coming from Moriyasu. Dang it, come back here, he would say as he goes ahead and rushes at Naofumi. At this, everyone in the town actually stops as they actually go ahead and try to run away, as right now, to them, it seems like the, spear hero was running rapid, attacking the shield hero. At this, Naofumi was just dodging all of Moriyasu's attacks and says, really, dude? Are you serious? I have not even talked to you ever since that happened, and you're over here attacking me out in, bright daylight, attacking all these people. Are you stupid or something? At this, Moriyasu doesn't even hear him. He then says, whatever, you shall release Raphtalia and that other girl, he would say. At this, Naofumi goes ahead and listens to him. He's like, what? As this is when Moriyasu would then reveal his lolly fetish, causing Naofumi to eye him with the most disgusted look in his life. Oh, you are the worst, he would say. At this, this would cause Moriyasu to get angry. He then says, whatever, you, as he goes ahead and says the R word. I'm not saying it. As he goes ahead and actually rushes at Naofumi, ready to attack him again. But Naofumi, having enough of this, will go ahead and dashes off, blitzing Moriyasu, chopping him on the neck, knocking him out. That's what you get, idiot, for attacking me in public. At this, he goes ahead and asks anyone if they were injured and everything, which people will go ahead and give him the okay, unknowingly upping his reputation. At this is when Mine arrives there. She's like, Moriyasu! As she goes ahead and begins to go ahead and try to check Moriyasu for injuries, but also berating Naofumi, telling him how dare he attack this, the shield hero. The spear hero. At this, Naofumi goes ahead and eyes her with a glare and says, oh, you're still trying to actually act all tough? Woman, do not forget that if I wanted you dead, I could. as my Naofumi has really gotten a very high dislike, as he's close to really wanting, not even wanting, doing it actually. He's like one more berating comment from her, and he's ready to end this girl's life, as he has a high dislike for mine, which, I mean, don't we all? So at this, mine goes ahead and shuts up real quick, taking Moriyasu to be, checked. As at this is when, of course, Raphtalia and the rest of the party would arrive. Naofumi, are you alright? Asks Raphtalia. As Naofumi will go ahead and nod, he just tells them that, come on, let's just go ahead and get some equipment. So we go ahead and do a change of scene, as we see the group arrive at the blacksmith, so they were now currently getting some gear. At this, Naofumi was just asking, talking to the guy, asking if he had any gear or anything for Naofumi, causing the guy to just go ahead and chuckle, telling Naofumi about all the gears that he has. As soon as they go ahead and actually continue getting equipped and everything, this is when suddenly barging into the bar would not other than be a couple of people. Oh crap! I knew one day this would happen, thought Naofumi. At this, Raphtalia would nod, as this is where Naofumi actually went ahead and made a playful joke, as he once told them that one day when he arrives back at that kingdom, they're gonna try to go ahead and try to full on take him down, all because he's the so-called shield hero, and all because they don't like him. And it seems like just like Naofumi said, the prediction come true, as right now he's surrounded by knights and everything. Look, I'm not going down without a fight, but if you really want me to destroy this kingdom, I do not mind. But this one of them would then step up. No, Sir Shield Hero. We're actually here to request that we can join your party to fight the most recent waves, said one of them. At this, Naofumi actually stops whatever he was doing, and turns to all of them. He's like, are you for real? Which they would nod, causing Naofumi to go ahead and let go of the whitish glow as he then sighs. Dang it. I really wanted y'all to attack me at the same time. I really wanted to see how far could I go if I whooped the entire kingdom's pretty much military's ass. At this, all of them would just sweat drop at this, as Naofumi would hand them a big bag of money, telling them that go ahead, go crazy, buy as much equipment that they need so they can take on their waves. At this, the group would nod, as Naofumi would then turn to his group and just say, come on guys, let's go ahead and get you guys some holy water. So at this, we go ahead and now cut to Naofumi getting some holy water. As soon as he gets there at the 3 Cardinal Heroes Church, which, yeah, they removed the 4 Cardinal Heroes, considering the fact they don't consider Naofumi a hero, apparently. As soon as Naofumi goes ahead and steps up, he asks for some holy water, causing a lady who was nearby to go ahead and get him some. As right now, the Pope of the church would go ahead and walk out. He's like, don't worry, Sir Shield Hero, we will do just that, he would say. As Naofumi would nod, however, he would eye this man suspiciously, as he could sense some unknown malevolent intent behind him. Pretty much, he's sensing some bad energy coming towards him. As this causes Naofumi to actually get on guard, not really showing it though, as this is when the lady returns, only to realize that the quality of the holy water was, well, terrible. At this, Naofumi makes the comment saying like, hey, this is some bad holy water. I asked for very expensive. At this, the Pope of the church goes ahead and turns to her and just say, what were you thinking? He would say. At this, the lady will go ahead and say, but sire, he's a... At this, he will go ahead and look at her and eye her with the glare. Did our teachings not teach you? At this, she goes ahead and just begins to quake. She's like, but sir... But this is when he has enough. He then says, get out of here. If our teachings do not show that we are not biased and we do not show our emotions towards others, then you do not deserve to be in the 3 Cardinal Heroes Church. At this, said lady goes ahead and begins to tear up, but she begins to walk away, as the man would then turn to them apologizing. At this, he'll go ahead and offer them the bottle for free, causing Naofumi to take it, as he then thanks the man, and thanking him for, doing that. At this, the man would nod and says, don't worry, we always respect you. We always push our feelings for you to the other side, as we just do what's right. At this, Naofumi would just nod as he goes ahead and walks away. However, he will keep a close eye on that guy, considering the fact that he thought the king was bad, he believes that this guy might even be worse than the king. And that is saying a lot. I mean, a lot. So eventually, after exiting out of there, Naofumi will go ahead and turn to his group and be like, okay, so we're going to need to go ahead and get preparing for it. As eventually, he'll go ahead and return back to the blacksmith area to see that all his party have been equipped with gear. Alright, all of you join my party and we can get started with this. At this, they will go ahead and do the same thing. They will all go ahead and sign up for the party, as this is when the timer begins to count down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. It has begun. As this is when Naofumi and his party would then be teleported to the area. As soon as they do so, already they can see the red skies, as well as multiple monsters being summoned attacking the village. As Naofumi would then yell in a battle cry, rushing towards the village to protect it. "All charge!" he would say as he goes ahead and rushes off, with everyone screaming their heads off as they go ahead and prepare to defend the village. At this, Naofumi will go ahead and sense the other heroes as they were already rushing to the beast, ready to attack and defeat it. As Naofumi will go ahead and sigh, "Freaking idiots." So we go ahead and now do a cutscene to where they go ahead and see Naofumi's group taking on the beast. They're actually going ahead and actually winning them at first due to their overwhelming numbers, as so far the ones who are doing the most are Naofumi and his group. However, more of them continue being summoned, and also time continues taking long, as Naofumi keeps thinking like, what is taking them so long? As he goes ahead and takes down a large amount of them. At this, he goes ahead and looks up as he realizes that they have been here for such a long period of time, and that if they continue at this rate, they won't last much longer. As this causes Naofumi to grit his teeth, he goes ahead and actually hops onto Jane's back, as well he tells Raphtalia to take care of the area here, while he goes ahead and goes up there. At this, Raphtalia would nod. She goes ahead and commands the small group, as she's pretty much like second in command compared to Naofumi, as she tells them all to charge and begin to take care of the group. Plus, she's also, although not as powerful as Naofumi, she is still very powerful and can take on large quantities of the monsters by herself. So back with Naofumi and Jane were right now riding towards the ship as they go ahead and actually fly up there thanks to Jane's wind magic, as eventually they'll go ahead and arrive onto the ship. Now at this, Naofumi would see the sight as he just got to describe the sight as one thing: pure idiocy. As right now, in the center of it, he would see the bunch of heroes complaining about who should they attack first, the skeleton or the soul eater. As you know, right now the Rin was talking about like they should defeat the skeleton captain, but this is when Moriyasu has to speak up saying we have to defeat the soul eater. As they continue arguing, Naofumi would go ahead and speak up saying, "What are you idiots doing? Do you not realize how much lives are you putting in danger by arguing about this?" At this, all the group would then stop talking as Naofumi would then turn towards the soul eater as he then says, "I got no time for you." As this is when Naofumi goes ahead and actually goes and punches the air with his quake ability, causing a large shockwave to be sent towards the beast, destroying it in an instant. He defeated it in one shot, said, Rin, as he was also surprised. As Naofumi goes ahead and looks at it with narrowed eyes, he would see it reform instantly, causing Naofumi to sigh. Yeah, I knew one hit wouldn't be enough. As he goes ahead and sees the skeleton captain coming towards him, he goes ahead and blocks it with the hockey fist. As he goes ahead and tells Rin how many times has he defeated it. At this, Rin tells him that he has only defeated it 3 times, while the idiot over there, of course referring to Moriyasu, has only defeated that soul eater 2 times. Well, now thanks to Naofumi, 3. At this, Naofumi goes ahead and turns to Moriyasu. As Moriyasu goes ahead and says, "Don't believe this freaking loser, this liar. He, of course, doesn't know that we need to defeat the soul eater first." At this, both of them once again begin to argue until Naofumi then realizes something in the shadows and says, "You're both wrong. Hey, Rin, can you attack that thing?" At this, Rin goes ahead and looks at him like, who are you giving orders to? But this is when he realizes that he also sees the same thing, as he then says, "Yeah, don't worry about it." As he swings a light sword attack directly towards the shadow of the skeleton, causing it to actually release another soul eater, 2 of them. At this, all of them would actually be surprised as the skeleton captain gets destroyed, while right now both soul eaters were staring them down. So just as I thought, 2 bosses. At this, Naofumi's fist would then be coated in the whitish glow, as he tells them that we need to work together in order to defeat this thing, causing all the heroes to then look at him. "What? Work together? With you? Never," said Moriyasu in turns. But Rin, he doesn't listen to him, as he actually has to admit, ever since his last encounter with Naofumi and everything, he's not gonna lie, Naofumi is, because unlike in canon, Naofumi is not like a total D-hole and everything. Like, yeah, I know Rin was also part of the group that went ahead and thought of him like that, but already he has his suspicions and everything. And also, I feel like Rin didn't really, deserve that, considering the fact, out of all of them, Rin he just didn't care much, or he was more logical than the other 2. I just have to admit. If y'all don't believe me, yeah, I'm sorry. It's just how I see it. It's my what if. So at this, Rin goes ahead and actually nods as him and his group actually help Naofumi. As Naofumi actually was surprised at this, he was actually really thinking like, hey yo, I'm gonna have to just, you know, defeat these 2 things by myself. Well, he didn't really think like that. He just thought like, oh, I'm gonna have to do this by myself. But really, I guess even other people have their moments. As Rin and Naofumi will go ahead and rush at him. Well, mostly Naofumi, considering the fact that Rin mostly stayed behind to support him from the back. At this, Jane will go ahead and allow Naofumi to go ahead and climb on top of her. Not like that, you know, you dirty-minded people. As he goes ahead and actually uses her to go ahead and fly up to the beast. As he goes ahead and slams a quake punch in his face, sending it flying, as this time it did not get one-shotted. At this, he would then shout, "Now!" Causing, you know, of course, causing Rin to shoot his, you know, meteor spear at it, causing it to now be destroyed in an instant. At this, the rest of his party would go ahead and attack the other Soul Eater. As, you know, this is when Naofumi would go ahead and coat his fist into Haki, punching the thing over and over again. Seeing the duo in action, this would cause a seething Moriyasu, who's currently watching both of them in anger. "No, I will not be outdone by you two. I won't be outdone by Naofumi," he would say in right of anger as he goes ahead and shoots a meteor spear, adding more damage to it. As eventually, after all their combined power, they would eventually destroy the Soul Eater. At this, all of them would actually go ahead and actually begin to cheer, as they actually were surprised that they went ahead and defeated it, causing Naofumi and, you know, Jane to actually hop down. "Good, it's over," he would say. At this is when Raftali would go ahead and arrive, as Naofumi would ask if they take care of the village, which she would say yes, causing Naofumi to actually be smiling. At this, now that their group was now together, this is when suddenly they will all feel an ominous aura. "What?" And suddenly a voice would then speak up. "Quite impressive. But now it's time to see for the real challenge." At this, the group will go ahead and look up, as suddenly falling from the sky would be a woman, as this would be none other than Glass. As Glass goes ahead and lands onto the ground, she would then smile. "Hello, heroes," she would say. As, you know, this will cause Naofumi and the rest of the heroes to get on guard, as, you know, Naofumi will go ahead and sense that she is powerful, more powerful than any of the other heroes. As he goes ahead and asks, "Oh yeah, and who is she?" At this, she goes ahead and smiles. "Well, I am Glass. And as you can clearly say, I am, I guess for you guys, am the final boss for this wave." At this, all of them were now looking at her in confusion, while Naofumi goes ahead and smirks. She's obviously lying. As he's right now reading her emotions, as he goes ahead and smirks. "You, a beauty such as yourself? Really?" At this, for some odd reason, this causes Glass to actually blush a little bit. She then says, "Don't toy with me." As this causes the other heroes to just look on like in confusion, until Moriyasu then speaks up. "We shall defeat you then." As him and the other heroes go ahead and try gaining together, of course except Naofumi, as he goes ahead and shoots out meteor attacks, trying to attack Glass, but she'll go ahead and push them off with the wave of her fan. Your attacks are revolting. You're not anything on my level," she would say. At this, she'll go ahead and begin to talk about her whole spiel, saying that none of them are considered heroes, and the only one who is worthy enough for that title, and the only one who's worthy of fighting her, is Naofumi. At this, Naofumi goes ahead and looks at her and says, "Wow, a beauty with good taste," he would say. At this causes Glass to actually blush a little bit more. She then says, "Stop doing that." As Naofumi would just chuckle at this, he had to admit it was adorable seeing her like this, but right now, no, that's not the time. As he goes ahead and actually begins to go into combat, he'll go ahead and say, "Yeah, but I guess it's time for us to battle," he would say. At this, Glass goes ahead and smashes and says, "I shall give you a shot." As this is when Naofumi goes ahead and dashes off at amazing speed, surprising Glass, as she didn't expect that sort of speed from this hero. As she'll then go ahead and actually dodge an attack by Naofumi, or at least she tried, causing her to have to block with her, fan, causing her to be pushed back a couple of feet. What the? As she goes ahead and falls down to one knee, as she had to admit, just from the force of that punch, it was a lot. At this, she goes ahead and gets up, she then says, "Wow, I am quite caught off guard by that." As Naofumi then smiles. I have to admit, you're rather impressive, but then again, you are the so-called final boss," he would say. At this, once again, this causes flustered Glass, who gets angry at Naofumi for even underestimating her, as she goes ahead and sends a bunch of fan attacks at him, shooting, I guess you could say, turning her fan into a bow and shooting these weird bow attacks at him. At this, Naofumi will go ahead and dodge these arrows. Of course, he then begins to fight her as he begins to go 1v1 against Glass. Now, at this, Glass had to admit Naofumi's abilities were truly impeccable, as Naofumi had to admit she was strong as well. Her abilities were truly up to snuff. Compared to the other heroes, she was definitely stronger than them. However, Naofumi is definitely not like the other heroes. He is literally built different. As Naofumi then gives her a smirk, he then says, "Wish to continue fighting, but, there's a village that's right now in deep trouble, and I can't continue on. Of course, as much as I love this little dance of ours, it's time to come to an end," he would say. At this causes a couple of emotions to rush at Glass's face, but then she'll go ahead and narrow her eyes. "And what do you mean be done with it?" At this, Naofumi goes ahead and smiles, he then says, "See ya," as he goes ahead and dashes off at her, as he goes ahead and coats his fist in whitish glow, of course activating Quake, as well as he goes ahead and wraps his fist in armored hockey, as he punches Glass in the stomach. Well, not in the stomach, that would actually kill her, but he will go ahead and actually punch her on the thigh, causing her thigh to actually the bone of her thigh to break, as well causing her entire leg, which was the right leg, to be pretty much all the bones in it to be destroyed, as well as muscles to be ripped apart. At this, she would scream out in agony, in pure pain, as Naofumi would jump away, as he goes ahead and looks at her. "I'm sorry, but it had to be done. I mean, I can't really allow you to go ahead and kill me off, can I?" At this, Glass was holding her leg in pure agony, and she goes ahead and pulls out a bottle of potion, and she goes ahead and spills it on her leg, causing it to begin to heal. At this, she gets angry until she realizes the time. She says, "We'll continue this later." As Naofumi was wondering what she meant, but this one suddenly the waves countdown begins to stop, as he goes ahead and begins to count from 3, 2, 1. As this begins to signify the end of the waves. At this, Naofumi was confused. He then turns to Glass, who begins to fly up into the air. She says, "We will meet again, and next time, Shield Hero, I will not hold back." At this, he goes ahead and looks at Glass, as she then says, "Well, see you next time," he would say, giving her a smile, causing Glass to actually blush. She then humps and turns away from him, as she goes ahead and returns back to her land. So with that, the waves were now taken care of, as Naofumi then turns to them, as he goes ahead and gives them a sly smile. "So, I guess that was pretty amazing," he would say. As this is when Reptalia would then rush at Naofumi and tell him, "How dare you go ahead and start doing that?" As she couldn't believe that Naofumi even had the balls to even do something like that. But then again, this is Naofumi. At this, Naofumi goes ahead and actually... So we go ahead and actually do a time skip, actually, considering the fact that I was getting confused there. As we go ahead and cut to when the king actually calls all the cardinal heroes to go to him. Now at this, Naofumi had to be included, considering the fact that one of the members in his party were begging him practically to go over there, as he was right now just, pretty much getting something and everything. So at this, Naofumi goes ahead and pretty much arrives there, as the king begins to review the battles. He then says, I have to admit, you are right, you are quite powerful, Shield Hero. However, the way that you fight of a brawler, it truly is unfair of someone of the Shield," he would say, trying to get, a riled up Naofumi. However, expecting some, boos and something like that, he was actually surprised that no one was really commenting about Naofumi, considering the fact, half of the people there already begin to change their opinions about Naofumi, and even some of them are beginning to have suspicions about the royal family. At this, the man would go ahead and look at him, causing them to just "What, bro?" They didn't really say that, but they're just looking at him "What do you want us to do?" As he begins to sigh. "Well, anyway, I demand to know how you get so powerful, Shield Hero." At this, Naofumi goes ahead and gains a tick mark. This man actually believes he can order me around? What type of fantasy world does he live in? At this, Naofumi goes ahead and coughs into his mouth, coughs into his hand, and says, "Sorry to say this, but I don't have to respond to you. After all, right, you are in control of the 3 cardinal heroes, just not 4. At this causes some people in the room to actually look at Naofumi bewildered, until some of them actually begin to snicker. Others look at him in disbelief. Some are angry that he had the right to defile their so-called king. As well as, all the other heroes were just looking at Naofumi in shock. At this causes the king to get angry and says, "How dare you go ahead and look at me with such disrespect? I can have your head for that." At this, Naofumi goes ahead and looks at him. "Oh yeah, then why don't you try it, huh?" At this, the man goes ahead and smirks, thinking that Naofumi was blushing, but when he looks into, Naofumi's eyes, you will see that Naofumi was being dead serious. Like, he's right now challenging him, like, why don't you try to do something like that? And seeing the way that Naofumi is looking at him, it unnerves the king, causing him to actually, begin to swear. As Naofumi seeing that, would then scoff. "Please. If you can't even go ahead and go through, you can't even look at me without looking me directly in the eyes like a man, then there's no way you even have the chance of even coming close to even touching me." At this, the king goes ahead and gets angry at Naofumi for dare disrespecting him, but he doesn't speak nothing of it. Whatever. At this, he goes ahead and snaps his fingers, causing some people to actually go ahead and give Naofumi some money. As compared to the other heroes, it was not really much. As Naofumi just shrugs. Thanks. I don't really need the money of yours, actually. As this, he goes ahead and throws the money back at him, causing everyone to just look at Naofumi in shock. As the man goes ahead and shouts, "How dare you? I deserve respect!" At this, Naofumi goes ahead and looks at him. "No, you deserve a reality check." At this causes the man to shout, "Devil of the shield!" As Naofumi goes ahead and walks away from him, until the man has a bright idea. "Oh, I know. I'll have your party go ahead and pay for your crimes." But this one suddenly, once again, an aura goes ahead and shoots out at Naofumi, causing the man to bow to him. What? At this, others begin to bow to him as well, as Naofumi then turns to him. "I'll protect my party from you no matter what. I don't give a damn about what you do to me, what you say. But let me tell you this. If I find out that you try anything with my party..." At this, Naofumi looks at him with pure hatred. As if anyone can describe this feeling right now, it will be unbridled rage at its fullest. "I'll kill you and this whole damn kingdom from the map." At this, everyone was right now watching him in shock. As, by the way, just to let you guys know, he said that he will wipe out the whole damn kingdom from the map. Just wanted to let you know. I got something confused. I know I did. So yeah, I apologize for that. So at this, Naofumi goes ahead and begins to walk away. Just as the king begins to shout, "Devil of the shield!" But Naofumi doesn't give a damn. As we go ahead and now cut to Naofumi and the rest of his group, as he then tells them that, it's about time that they go off. As he was now right now thinking like, maybe it's time for us to go ahead and continue on with what we were always doing, traveling around the world, trying to find some, trying to continue on with their adventure pretty much. At this, they will both nod at this, as Naofumi goes ahead and takes his group, along with himself, to their journey. As this is where I'm going to go ahead and end this part. But of course not leaving it off with a cliffhanger, as we go ahead and now cut to a certain area. As someone in the shadows was watching all of this with great amusement, and also a bunch of shame, as someone will go ahead and whisper into it. "My queen, did you overhear?" At this, the woman would nod. "Yes, I truly am disappointed in you," she would say. "Of course, I'm the king." As we go ahead and now truly end this what if with that part, as who do y'all think was speaking, huh? Who was this figure? Who was he speaking to? What is going on with the king? And what is going to happen to Naofumi now? As now that he's really beginning to change the population and pretty much beginning to change the opinion of all the people. Well, I guess you're going to have to find out in the next part, which I recommend y'all do so. But either way, it is Sage Samurai, and I am out. So, peace, actually.